Chapter 8: Cascading Style Sheets. Inside the chapter, 3 ways to define CSS: external style sheets, internal style sheets, inline style sheets, a CSS background, CSS borders, CSS margin, CSS text, CSS font. You have learnt about HTML in the previous chapter. HTML is a markup language which is used to create a web page by using various tags and attributes. Cascading style sheets are used to describe the presentation of the document which you have created using HTML. It can control and format the layout of all the web pages in a website at once, thus saves lot of work than doing it one by one with each web page. It is also abbreviated as CSS. You can define the styles in CSS document once, and it can be used by any of the web page by referencing it. It has separated the document presentation from the document contents. The styles which can be defined for a web page may include font style, spacing, background images, design and layout of a web page, and various other effects. 3 ways to define CSS. 1. External style sheets. In this style sheet, you can define a common style sheet with .css extension and then invoke it by using a link tag in HTML document. 2. Internal style sheets. In this style sheet, you can define the style sheet rules in the header section of the HTML document using style tag. 3. Inline style sheets. In this style sheet, you can define the style sheet rules with the HTML tags using style attributes. Benefits of using cascading style sheets. 1. Saves time. Using CSS, you can define the style sheet rules once, and that can be used and applied to the various elements. So, you don't need to write the rules separately for each element, which saves your time. 2. Maintenance is easy. It is easy to format the web pages in a website, as you need to apply the change in CSS, which will automatically update the elements in a web page. 3. Fast transfer speed. There is no need to write the formatting statements again and again, which reduces the complexity and file size. Thus, files can be transferred at fast speed. 4. Superior styles. Using CSS, you can apply superior styles to the web page rather than using the HTML tags and attributes, and can give a better appearance to the HTML document. 5. Compatibility. Using CSS, one can apply different layout to different media types. The same HTML document can be presented and viewed in different way for different devices like computer screen, phone, etc. Syntax. The syntax for defining the style sheet rules is given below. Selector, property, value. Property, value. The syntax is mainly divided into 2 parts. A. Selector. It is the HTML element on which we want to apply the declaration. B. Declaration. Declaration part is enclosed in curly braces. This part consists of property and its value. Property are the attributes of the HTML element in a selector, and value is the value assigned to that attribute. For example, HR color red with 50% height, 4%. In this example, HR is a selector which is a horizontal rule tag with declaration in which property is color width and height with value. Fact filed. CSS was first proposed in 1994 by Hakon Berbium Lai. Fact filed. Style definitions are saved with DCS extension. Fact filed. You can apply a style to many selectors by writing the elements separate by commas. H1, H2, H3, H4, color blue. External style sheets. In external style sheet method, you need to define the style sheet in a separate file with an extension .css. Let us understand it with an example. Suppose we have created a file named style.css. In this file, we have created two rules, blue and thick, in an external CSS. We will link it in HTML document using link tag as shown in the next figure. Output class selector. In the example of external style sheets, you have noticed that we have used a class attribute with p tag. Class attribute is used to select the elements with a specific class that we have defined in the style.css file. To select the elements, write dot followed by class name. Internal style sheet. In internal style sheet method, you need to define the style sheet in the header section of the HTML document using style tag. There is no need to create separate file. Let us understand it with the help of an example. Output will be same as given in the previous example because we have written the same code in different style. Inline style sheet. In inline style sheet method, you can apply the style sheet rule directly to the HTML elements using style attribute. Let us understand it with the help of the same example as above. CSS background. Cascading style sheets background properties can be defined to apply background effects for the elements. Various background properties may include A. Background color, B. Background image, C. Background position, D. Background repeat, E. Background attachment, A. Background color. This property of background is used to set the color which is to be applied to the HTML element. Syntax background color value where value can be color name / hexadecimal code / RGB color code. Example B. Background image. This property can be used to add image to the background of the web page. Syntax background image dot pass, where pass is the URL of where image resides. Examples C. Background position. This property is used to set the position of the image at the desired place in a web page. Syntax background position dot value, where value can be X pose, Y pose. Specifies the horizontal and vertical position in units of lengths. X%, Y%. It specifies the horizontal and vertical position in the form of percentage. Top / center / bottom, left / center / right. Specifies the horizontal and vertical position by using any of the keywords mentioned. Background repeat. You may have noticed that if the background image is not able to fit in the entire web page, it is repeated to fill in the complete page. If you don't want your image to get repeated in the background, or you want to set the repetition pattern in the background, you can use the background repeat property. Syntax background repeat value, where value can be any of the following. No repeat image will appear only once and will not be repeated. Repeat X image will be repeated in horizontal direction. Repeat image will be repeated in vertical direction. Repeat image will be repeated in both direction. Example E. Background attachment. This property is used to fix the background image or scroll the image when you scroll the page. Syntax. Background attachment. Value, where value can be fixed or scroll. Example: fact file. The default image position is top left corner of the page. Fact file. By default, the background image is repeated in both horizontal and vertical direction. CSS borders. The border property of cascading style sheets helps you to set the border style, width and color of the HTML element. Various border properties may include: A. Border style. B. Border width. C. Border color. D. Border. A. Border style. This property is used to specify the type of the border. Syntax. Border style value, where value can be any of the following. Solid. To define the solid border. Dashed. To define the dashed lines in a border. Dotted. To define a dotted border. Double. To define double border. Grooved. To define 3D grooved border. Ridge. To define 3D ridge border. Inset. To define 3D inset border. Outset. To define 3D outset border. None. To define no border. Hidden. To define hidden border. B. Border width. This property is used to set the width or thickness of the lines of the border of an element. Syntax. Border width value. Thick, thin, medium. C. Border color. This property is used to set the color of the border. One can change the color of the individual border as well, like top, bottom, left or right border. Syntax. Border color. Value, where value can contain color. Name. RGB. Color, code or hexadecimal code. D. Border. Using this property is used to set all the border properties in one declaration. Syntax. Border. Border style. Border width. Border color. Note: the value assigned to border style can be from 1 to 4 values, like border style, solid dashed, dotted, double. It means top border will be a solid border, right border will be dashed border, border will be dotted border, and left border will be double border. Example: fact file. The default width of the border is medium. Default color is black and default style of border is none. CSS margin. The margin property of cascading style sheets helps you to set the margin of each side of element. Each element can have only 4 sides: left, top, right, and bottom. User can change the default margins and change them according to his requirements. Various margin properties may include margin left, margin right, margin top, margin bottom. Syntax. Margin side value, where margin side can be any side from left, right, top, or bottom. Value can be any of the following. Auto browser calculates the margin. A length specifies the length in pixel, perimeter, etc. Percent margin is specified in percent of the width of the containing element. Example: you can see in the output that the margin of the paragraph is set according to the values given in the code using margin property of T element. CSS text. The text property is used to format the text of the web document. You can style the text by changing its color, align the text to a particular side, transform the text to uppercase, lowercase, or sentence case, decorate the text, or setting the space and indentation. This can be done by using various text properties as A. Color, B. Text align, C. Text decoration, D. Text transform, E. Text indent, F. Letter spacing, G. Line height, H. Direction, I. Word spacing, G. Text shadow, A. Color. This property is used to set the color of the text. Syntax, color, value, where value can be color name, RGB, color, code, or hexadecimal code. Example. B. Text, align. This property is used to set the alignment of the text, which can be left, top, right, or bottom. Syntax, text, align value, where value can be left, right, top, or bottom. Example. C. Text, decoration. This property is used to set or remove decoration from the text. Syntax, text decoration, value, where value can be underline, overline, line through, blink, or none. Example. D. Text, transform. This property is used to transform the text from one case to another. Syntax, text, transform, value, where value can be uppercase, lowercase, capitalize, or none. Example. E. Text, indent. This property is used to specify the indentation of the first line of the text. Syntax, text, indent, value, where value can be length in px or %. Example. F. Letter spacing. This property is used to set the spacing between the letters or characters in text. Syntax, letter spacing, value, where value can be in p. Example. G. Line, height. This property is used to specify the space between lines in a text. Syntax, line, height, value, where value can be number, percentage, length. Example. H. Direction. This property is used to change the direction of the text. Syntax, direction value, where value can be right to left and left to right. I. Word spacing. This property is used to specify the spacing between words in text. Syntax, word spacing, value, where value can be in p, x. Example. G. Text, shadow. This property is used to add shadow effect to the text. Syntax, text, shadow. H. Value, v value color, where value can be in p. Example. Fact, file, text, shadow. Feature may not be supported by all browsers. CSS font. The font property is used to change the font settings of the text, like font family, font style, or font size. Various properties or font family. B. Font style. C. Font size. D. Font weight. A. Font family. This property is used to change the font family of the text. You can specify more than one fonts in a preference order. It means when you run the code, if the browser does not support the first font, it tries the next one, then next from the list of fonts specified by you in list. Syntax, font family, value 1, value 2. where value can be font family name like cursive, serif, sans serif, fantasy, etc. Example B. Font style. This property is used to set the style of the font like italic, oblique or normal. Syntax. Font style value where value can be normal or italic or oblique. Example C. Font size. This property is used to change the size of the text. Syntax. Font size value where value can be any of the following. Example large, larger, x large, xx large, medium, small, smaller, x smaller, xx smaller, length, percent. Font weight. This property is used to put some weight on the text, like to make it bold. Syntax. Font weight value where value can be bold or normal. Example recap, corner. Cascading style. Sheets are used to describe the presentation of the document which you have created using HTML. It can control and format the layout of all the web pages in a website at once. Thus saves lot of work. In external style sheet method, you need to define the style sheet in a separate file with an extension .ess. In internal style sheet method, you need to define the style sheet in the header section of the HTML document using style tag. In inline style sheet method, you can apply the style sheet rule directly to the HTML elements using style attribute. Cascading style sheets background properties can be defined to apply background effects for the elements. The border property of cascading style sheets helps you to set the border style, width and color of the HTML element. The margin property of cascading style sheets helps you to set the margin of each side of element. The text property is used to format the text of the web document. The font property is used to change the font settings of the text like font family, font style or font size.